What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Always got to start off by saying all glory goes to God. Now, so today's video, I want to talk about visualization, and specifically visualizing for fighters, right? So what is visualization? It's in the name, right? So you should be visualizing, and basically almost experiencing this event all in your head. Obviously, it's not real. However, studies have shown that your brain cannot tell the difference between a real life event or a vividly visualized event, right? Whether it be true or false. So, what that means is, as a fighter, you should be visualizing, you know, all the possible outcomes of your fight. Especially at amateur level, it's very nerve wracking. There's tons of lights and sounds. Lights are blinding. There's all these people training next to you, whatever, in your fight warm up. It's a very stressful, very new environment, right? So, especially in an amateur level, as a fighter, you need to be visualizing the good things, but also the bad things. You should be visualizing, the worst possible scenario. However, spin it in a way where everything goes wrong. You're getting your butt kicked, whatever, right? You eat a super hard head kick or you eat a super hard shot, right? But you're still in the game, you're still there, but you still win the fight. And then you should also visualize the best possible outcome, right? Where your walkout song works perfectly. You're feeling really good. You have energy. You're winning the fight consistently, and you also knock out your opponent, right? So I want to briefly go over why it's important, because I want to add on to that fact, right, where your brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly visualized experience in your head, where you truly believe that this, you know, even fake event that's all in your head is reality or not, compared to an actual reality that's actually physically, quote unquote, manifesting, right? So, you know, a lot of the top fighters do it. Like, think of Conor McGregor. If you've seen his, any of his post-fight or pre-fight interviews, he consistently talks about, visualization, manifestation, and his belief, his utter deep down belief that he has that he's a world champion, and look where he was, right? And even another example, Michael Phelps. There's a very famous example where Michael Phelps says, okay, he visualized the worst possible scenario where his goggles filled up with water and ended up, getting so full that they ripped off his face, and they were just kind of trapped around his neck. And in that competitive swimming environment, there's zero time to put your goggles back in, fix them, you know. And what did happen? During one of his, competitions, that exact thing happened, where his goggles filled up with water and they got ripped off because of speed. But since he visualized that event in his head, understood understood that he visualized himself overcoming that event, that's exactly how it played out in real life. And he ended up breaking one of his records, and that record, and winning the competition and all that. So it just goes to show that visualization, that meditation, it really does work. And Crew Danny out of Denver Muay Thai, when he did a seminar at my gym, he was adamant about visualization, meditation, manifesting, something like that. And also my current crew, Crew Alexis out of Salt Lake City Muay Thai, same thing. All of our fighters in fight camp, she consistently has them, visualize, meditate, again, like the best possible scenario happening and the worst possible scenario happening, however, with a positive twist where they still win the fight, and like things to visualize, right? Visualize, getting your hands wrapped. You got your headphones in, you're visualizing the event of getting your hands wrapped before the fight. You're calm, collected, cool. Visualize your walkout. You're walking out and you're, seeing all the lights, the sights, the smells, the smell of the canvas, the crowd cheering, whatever, right? You should also visualize those positive outcomes, where you've won the fight and your hands getting raised by the referee, what I'm saying? And just visualize that and truly believe these events are happening. And then I promise you, as long as you truly believe, that they will manifest into reality. And there's countless examples of this in all professional sports, not just, combat sports, whether it be like Michael Phelps, Michael Jordan, Conor McGregor, whoever, right? All these big, massive proponents of, visualization and meditation and manifesting, right? There's all these real world examples that can attest to that. And anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later.